Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another preview and predictions video. The team that we're going to be taking an in-depth dive into today is our 2024 Dallas Cowboys football team. We're going to take a complete look at their NFL schedule, see which games we think they're going to win, lose, and what we predict their final record will be. We're also going to do a complete preview of their roster, seeing what pieces they added from last season and what pieces they are adding to their current team right now. Go ahead, hit that like button and subscribe. If you have any comments, drop them below and I will make sure to respond. So our 2024 Dallas Cowboys football team, the most popular NFL team in the entire country. This is the New York Yankees of the NFL world. It is America's team. Vegas, as of right now, they have them coming in at 10.5 wins. So that's what they're projected for the 2024 to 2025 season. I'm going to be honest, I actually think that's kind of low starting out the season. So we know that this team left off in a really good place last season win-loss-wise. It's one of the best rosters in the entire NFL. They had a top 5 defense. They had a top 5 offense, a very well-rounded team. So 10.5 wins, that's obviously safe for Vegas to say, but I'm just going to be upfront. I'm going to be going with the over when it comes to their win total. We know that we have the MVP runner-up, Dak Prescott. He is back for another season, and he has a loaded cast at his back. Can they finally get over the hump, though? That's the biggest question is, can the Dallas Cowboys finally have some success in the postseason? It has been decades since they've had success, so their fans are desperately waiting for them to get through. They have a couple hurdles. So they have contract restrictions, they have cap issues. So if there was a time for them to finally get out there, to get over the hump, this may be the final season. Jerry Jones, he's been talking a big game for years about adding all kinds of players to get this team in a position to win now. But basically this offseason, the Cowboys really didn't do much. So they're basically going to be running it back with the same team. But as I mentioned, they need that postseason success this year. It is not optional. They really needed to go all in. They needed to bet the house on a Super Bowl run. They did not do that, but they still have a top 5 team easily. This team can easily compete with and win. They just have to stay out of their own way during the playoffs. We have head coach Mike McCarthy. He's back at the helm. He calls plays since last year. Now, to me, his play calling is just a tad too conservative, but the results were still good. Some would say that Dak Prescott had his best season as an NFL quarterback. So they were able to move the ball. It's just, to me, when they got the lead or when they were playing behind, they were just a little too conservative with the ball. Now, Dak did have one of his better seasons. He does take a lot of flack. He gets a lot of stress, but that's what comes with playing for the most popular NFL team in the entire country. He had 36 touchdowns last year, had a great season, but there's still a lot of rumors that this might be the last year with the Dallas Cowboys. But what I would say to that is, what's the alternative to Dak Prescott as of right now? Now, the Cowboys did trade for the quarterback, Trey Lance. He will probably be the backup for what it's worth, but as of right now, he has shown nothing to show that he can play at the same level of Dak Prescott. Now, one thing the Cowboys do need to do is they needed to deepen the running back room. They didn't get enough at that position to have a top-tier 1 through 3 running back situation. They did add Ezekiel Elliott, but he's really just a shell of him for himself. But he is going to be a pretty good third down option, a short yardage option. I love CeeDee Lamb. I've been high on him since he played at Oklahoma. He had 135 receptions last season, 1,750 yards, 12 touchdowns. I've been telling people for a long time that he was a legit number 1 threat. A lot of people didn't think he was, but he definitely shut up the haters this past season. But it's time for the rookie contract to fall off. He wants to get paid. He does deserve to get paid. But that's where those contract issues come in, as I mentioned. Once you start getting pushed to the cap, it gets pretty hard to sign these guys to these maximum contracts. You have wide receiver Brandon Cooks. He is back. He's a pretty solid number 2. You have Tolbert. You have Turpin. Let's also not forget that you have Ferguson, who did have a really good season last year. Can he follow up on that? Can he continue to build and have an even better season this season? Now, the Cowboys, they were known for having one of the best offensive lines in the NFL for the last 5 years straight. That's not really the case anymore. Now, it's not saying that they're bad. It's just no one puts them at a top-tier offensive line anymore. They're just a solid line as of right now. But they do have Smith, Martin, Steele, Bebe, Gotten. So there's a lot of guys there. It's just, are they going to be able to polish everything into a finished product? You have the defensive coordinator, Dan Quinn. He's gone, but in comes Mike Zimmer. He's going to roll out a solid defense. Parsons, he's healthy. He's back. He is one of the best defensive players in the NFL. Some people think he is the best defensive player in the NFL. You have Lawrence, Nealon, Williams, Smith, Golston, Overshown, Kendricks, Clark, Diggs, Bland, Lewis. There's a lot of talent on the defense. They're going to have a top 5 defense again this season. I don't really see any issues there. As I mentioned, it's a very solid team on the offense and on the defense. But let's take a quick look at their schedule. Let's see how we think the Dallas Cowboys are going to do. They're going to kick things off Sunday, September 8th at Cleveland. This is a pretty tough first game of the season. Cleveland's going to be tough. They should be healthy next season on the offense, but they had a top 10 defense last season. Defense is always going to be good. They're going to have another solid defense this year, but I'm going to go with the Dallas Cowboys. They are the better team. They're the better defense. They're the better offense. I think they're going to start out the season pretty solid. They're going to start that out with a win, and they're 1-0. Next game is going to be Sunday, September 15th versus New Orleans. New Orleans, obviously, they have a solid defense. They have a solid offense, but they never really seem to be on the same page in any single game. When the offense played well, the defense did not. When the defense played well, the offense didn't. I don't think they're going to be able to have everything clicking versus the Cowboys. Their defense is way too solid. I have the Cowboys starting out 2-0 and winning this game. After that, Sunday, September 22nd versus Baltimore. Baltimore is a top 3 team. A lot of people are probably going to be picking them to be Super Bowl favorites. You have Mark Andrews, he's back healthy. You have Lamar Jackson, obviously one of the best quarterbacks in the country. One of the deepest teams in the country on offense, on defense. Top 3 offense, top 3 defense. I'm going to go with Baltimore getting the win here early in the season, dropping the Cowboys to 2-1. After that, it's going to be Thursday, September 26th at the New York Giants. We know that the Giants had a solid 1 or 2 months at the very end of the season, played very well at the quarterback position, but it's really just because no one was expecting much from them at that point. They had an awful season last year. To me, they're not going to be much better this season, so I have the Cowboys winning here, and they're 3-1. And all Cowboys fans know you definitely always want to beat the Giants when you can. After that, Sunday, October 6th at Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh's always going to be a tough team to play because Tomlin always has a tough, physical defense. The thing that's been holding them back has been the offensive side ever since Big Ben retired. They should be better on offense this upcoming season, but they're not going to be anywhere near as good as the Dallas Cowboys offense. And we know that the Cowboys are, as I mentioned, going to have a solid defense. So look for them to win here, and they're going to be 4-1. After that, Sunday, October 13th versus Detroit. Detroit's a solid team. There was that game at the end of last season where Detroit should have won it. There was a blown call. Dallas won the game. Detroit's going to want some payback here. I have the Lions winning this one, and Dallas drops to 4-2. After that, Sunday, October 27th at San Francisco. This is another team just like the Rams. They're top 3 across the board. A top 3 overall roster, top 3 defense, top 3 offense. They are reigning from just having played in the Super Bowl this past season. They are a very solid team, very well-coached team, really good on offense, really good on defense. I think that the Cowboys are actually going to surprise them here. Everything's kind of setting up for the 49ers to get the win. So I'm going to go with Dallas getting the win at San Francisco. A little bit of an upset game. They're not going to be out-talented. They have talent across the board. 49ers are legit. But I'm going to go with the Cowboys here. And they're going to win this one, and they're 5-2. After that, we have Sunday, November 3rd at Atlanta. Atlanta's going to be a much improved team. They added Kirk Cousins. They have weapons at running back. They have Robinson. They have Pitts. They have Landon. Solid team, decent defense, well-coached team. But I'm going to go with the Cowboys to win this one, and they're 6-2. After that, Sunday, November 10th versus Philadelphia. Philadelphia is a team that took a step back last season. They were banged up. Hurts did not have a solid year at all. But when you look at the roster, it's a really good roster on paper on both sides of the ball. But I think they're going to have a very similar season to what they had last season. They're going to be a 10-11 win team, maybe a 9-win team at worst. I have the Cowboys winning this one. They're 7-2. After that, Monday, November 18th, versus Houston. We know that Houston has one of the best 1-2 punches in the entire NFL at quarterback and wide receiver, one of the best matchups there is. C.J. Stroud came out of nowhere last season, had a great rookie year. He's going to follow that up with an even better season this year. This is an in-state rivalry. I have Houston winning this one, surprising Dallas, mainly because Dallas has had a really rough last month of the season. They're going to be banged up here. They're going to be tired, and Houston's going to catch them, and that's going to drop Dallas to 7-3. After that, Sunday, November 3rd at Washington. Washington, obviously, they're overhauling a lot of things on the team, on the offense, on the coaching staff. Look for Dallas to rebound with the win here, and they're 8-3. After that, you have Thursday, November 28th versus the New York Giants. I've already mentioned all the points with the Giants. I have the Cowboys sweeping them this season, winning this one. They're 9-3. After that, Monday, December 9th versus Cincinnati. Cincinnati's a tough team. Obviously, Burrow's going to be back. He's healthy. They have a deep wide receiver core. Their offensive line should be better. Their defense is average to below average, but the Dallas Cowboys have had a pretty rough middle of the season. I have them dropping this one, and they're going to be 9-4. But no reason to be concerned about these last two losses here. After that, Sunday, December 15th at Carolina. There is a massive talent gap here between Carolina and Dallas. Look for Dallas to win this, and they're 10-4. Next game, Sunday, December 22nd versus Tampa Bay. The Buccaneers, solid team last season. Baker Mayfield, one of the comeback players of the year. Great wide receiver core, good defensive line, good running game. But I have Dallas winning this one, and they're going to be 11-4. Then after that, Sunday, December 29th at Philadelphia, we already discussed the Eagles roster, their pros, their cons. Dallas took the first game. I have Philly rebounding, taking the second game at the end of the year. Dallas might have a couple guys that don't play because they're injured, and Dallas loses this game. They're 11-5. Final game of the season, Sunday, January 5th, versus the Washington Commanders. When it comes to Washington, they've already played them before. Massive talent gap here. Washington, new coaching staff, new offensive players, quarterback. Dallas are going to close out the year solid, looking at the playoffs. They're going to win this, and they're 12-5. So I have the Dallas Cowboys finishing the regular season with a record of 12-5. Really good year, really solid season. I am going with the over. Vegas had them at 10.5. I don't think that's high enough. I think they make the playoffs. They potentially win their division. And just like a lot of the last seasons, this is a team that has Super Bowl potential. The only question is, are they going to be able to keep that momentum deep into the playoffs? So that's our breakdown of our 2024-25 Dallas Cowboys. Go ahead, hit that like button and subscribe. If you have any comments, drop them below and I will respond. Thanks.